On this episode of China Uncensored, China has agreed to stop selling oil to North Korea. So why does it seem like China is still selling oil to North Korea? Hi, welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Matt Gnezda. Chris is still on vacation somewhere much warmer than New York. But unfortunately, I'm not. On today's episode, is the Chinese Communist Party violating UN sanctions by sending oil to North Korea? This story was sparked by, yes, another 140-character announcement from the leader of the free world. President Trump wrote, "Caught red-handed, very disappointed that China is allowing oil to go into North Korea." And the thing about Trump tweets is that every time he types a few sentence fragments with his thumbs, the entire world feels compelled to respond. Including us at China Uncensored, apparently. So, first, Trump uses Twitter to accuse the Chinese regime of allowing oil transfers to North Korea, despite UN sanctions that they agreed to. Then the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson admitted everything. Just kidding. She denied it. I assume she was just taking advice from Shaggy. It wasn't me. Specifically, the spokesperson said China never allows Chinese citizens and companies to engage in activities that violate UN Security Council resolutions. Except for how South Korea seized that ship with a Chinese crew on its way to North Korea to deliver oil. And then seized a second ship suspected of providing oil to North Korea. So yeah, except for those two times, plus maybe a few other times authorities hopefully don't ever find out about, Chinese citizens and companies would never engage in activities that violate UN Security Council resolutions. By the way, the first ship was actually caught in late November. South Korea said it had seized the Lighthouse Winmore, which had a Hong Kong flag. It was suspected of transferring 4,000 barrels of oil to a North Korean ship. The second oil ship, the Koti, was seized on December 19th at a South Korean port about 50 miles south of the North Korean border. It had a Panamanian flag, but the crew was mostly from China. And also Myanmar, weirdly. South Korean media says intelligence and custom agents are still investigating. But come on, what difference does a few thousand barrels of oil make? Apparently a lot. Over the past year, the U.S. has been pressuring China hard to get them to stop all trade with North Korea. It's a different tactic than the Obama administration used. They had tried to convince North Korea to give up its nuclear weapons program through six-party talks, and by issuing stern warnings. "I'm very disappointed in your behavior. I want you to stop, or I'm going to ask you again, nicely." But for some reason, that didn't work. So the new administration is trying out a tactic from the guy who comes to the presidency with a different kind of life experience.
"I'm rich. I'm really rich.
The beauty of me is that I'm very rich."
So the rich man's solution is to go after their money. Squeeze the money until North Korea is in so much pain it cries uncle. Wait a minute. Kim Jong-un actually killed his uncle. Anyway, North Korean leader and extreme hair clipper enthusiast Kim Jong-un has been threatening the U.S. with his nukes. Kind of. By saying the entire United States is within range of our nuclear weapons. Which is such a thinly veiled threat that it's pretty much see-through. It's like saying, you know, I'm standing close enough to your face that it's within throwing distance of my fist. That's not a threat. I'm just stating the fact that you are within range. So, at the U.S.'s urging, China has, in theory, stopped oil exports to North Korea. This is something that is painful and potentially destabilizing to the regime of Kim Jong-un. Well, apparently it's working, despite the occasional accidental shipment of 4,000 barrels of oil. Because, again, according to prolific tweeter and also President Donald Trump, sanctions and other pressures are beginning to have a big impact on North Korea. Rocket Man now wants to talk to South Korea for first time. Perhaps that is good news, perhaps not. We will see! ! We will see, actually, maybe even this coming Tuesday, because South Korea has promised high-level talks with North Korea. Technically, the talks are supposed to be mostly about North Korea's participation in the upcoming Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. But also, they might, hopefully talk about that other little thing. Well, yeah, but specifically that little thing. Fortunately, we know that talks with North Korea always work. At least they might work now, as long as Chinese authorities actually cut off North Korea's oil supply, instead of just saying they're definitely not doing it. Wait, what's that, Shelley? What? Russia is supplying North Korea with oil? Ugh. Well, what do you think? Will this new U.S. strategy be at least marginally more effective than the old one? Leave your comments below. Once again, I'm Matt Gnezda. Time for a loud beep. Now I know why Chris needs a vacation. Unfortunately for him, he'll be back at the end of next week. In the meantime, check out our website, ChinaUncensored.tv, for all the half-hour episodes with Chris you may have missed in 2017. Click here.